What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video, guys. Today we're covering another set of rumors. As you may know, the DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield is dropping very soon, but the rumor mill still continues churning on. And what we have today is a rumor specifically for Diamond and Pearl, and the second rumor is about specifically the Isle of Armor. So sit back, relax. We're first gonna read through both rumors and then discuss them more in depth in the second half of the video. So let's get started. So the first rumor was posted on the 7th of June. So basically, when I'm recording this, it was yesterday it was posted, and yeah, here's what it says though. Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming to the Switch in April, like the original games in 2021. The names are Time Diamond and Space Pearl. Now, the likeliness of this being true seems highly unlikely. The reason why is because it doesn't really make sense for them to release, a brand new game, essentially, this early into a year. The reason they release so late in November is because it's become a habit for us to get Pokemon games around that time, but also on top of that, we're specifically used to it because it's the time when we have like Black Friday and stuff. So they do it at this time because they know people will be buying gifts for like Christmas and those reasons. All right, but let's continue. There are no wild areas, but you can control the camera in controllable at all times, except in buildings. So trying to say that we're going to have a similar camera to the wild area within the whole kind of, I guess, space within the Diamond and Pearl remake. Saying next that Megas are the feature and they will be featured for all future remakes. Lots of Sinnoh Pokemon are getting Megas, but I've only seen the starters. This would be fantastic if true. They have said in the past they want Megas to return sometime in the future, and I think this would be actually the perfect time. I've said it before, this is the perfect time to do it. He says there though, Torterra, Acleosaurus with a mountain range on its back. Empoleon, more gold on its body, and its flippers are a sword and shield. And then Infernape, multicolored fire, and it sits in midair like Alakazam, or Mega Alakazam. Next is Dialga gets a new form called Temporal Form, and Palkia gets a special form. They are basically the same as primal forms, with the Adamance as Lustrous Orb acting as the source. It needs, and they say here that it needs to have it as its held item for it to work, I guess. Next, no new Giratina form, so that's interesting, but Arceus gets a new form. That's once again like a primal form. There is a post-game episode involving Giratina and Arceus with the Distortion World, as everyone was expecting. That's what we're hoping for. Again, you don't know what Game Freak, they could end up not giving us the Distortion World because, well, they just want to be Game Freak, But hey, I'm hoping they're going to be awesome and actually add that. Now, they say they will not be adding any Sinnoh forms or stadium/tournament style gyms or league. It's just like it used to be back in Diamond and Pearl. So that is strange. I would expect to see new forms and stuff, but maybe they'll kind of supplement that with just Megas, because remember, we used to just have like Megas as new forms back in Gen 6, and prior to that, it was mainly like new Pokemon for new generations, and remakes were pretty much always just the same, with nothing really major besides new features included within, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and then of course, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But that all changed with Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. That was the last proper remakes we had. So yeah, the story is the same as Diamond and Pearl, but it has some platinum elements. Pal Park is replaced by the Safari Zone, which uses Let's Go Catching. The rest of the area use traditional style of catching, of course. Now, this doesn't make a lot of sense, in my honest opinion. I don't know why they would do this. This just seems kind of unintuitive from their side to have to implement this sort of coding into the game, like something like, a game like Sword and Shield, which is what the Diamond and Pearl games will be built upon, right? The same engine. So it doesn't really make any sense to me that they would implement this, unless the same engine was used for like Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which I don't really know if it was, but again, who knows. They say the main feature from Diamond and Pearl and Platinum are back, such as the Underground and contests, fantastic, except the Battle Frontier and Villa, which will be added in a one-part DLC in the fall of 2021. So that I could see that happening, right? Them doing a DLC the same year after releasing the, base game, so to say. So that could definitely be, a thing that happens. Then Pokemon can follow you in all areas. Most of the national dex is back in the base game, and the rest will come back in the DLC. The DLC also adds a new Sinnoh island off the coast of Sinnoh, and all the mythical events from Platinum. That would actually be really cool. It also adds something like Pokemon World Tournament, where you rebattle champions, gym leaders, and rivals from this game, as well as the others. As it's a one-part DLC, it will cost $15. The map is about the same as the original. So that sounds to me fantastic. So that was the first DLC, right? And in my opinion, it sounds pretty awesome. Like, genuinely sounds pretty awesome. few things seem a little bit off. But again, is it realistic? I don't know. We've seen a million of these rumors, so nothing can really tell me that this is 100% real or not until we see what happens in the future. But let's continue to the next rumor though. So the next one is a DLC rumor, and this one is specifically for Sword and Shield, of course. So here's what he says, and this was posted on the 3rd of June, by the way, and shout out to my boy Memo for sharing these with me. So he says here, a leak for the Isle of Armor is stumbled across. It could be legit or not. So he's saying this is what he stumbled across, saying new Galar forms, Golduck, Water Dark. It takes inspiration from the more malicious side of Kappa. Okay, so I'm really... okay, fair enough. Cacturn, grass fire type, inspired by the spiciest plant in the world. Okay, the Euphorbia, which I'm not even going to try to guess if that's a real thing or not. It doesn't need underhanded tactics, and its chemical reactions are potent enough to keep threats away. Then Zebstrike, Flying Fairy, deep Pegasus inspiration in its design and the design of its evolution, which has larger wings. And then he continues on saying, new G-Max forms. Kecleon has a similar body shape, but the zigzag around its body is projected far from it, and it constantly animated in a somewhat trippy manner. It can use G-Max Bamboozle, which lowers the accuracy of all opponents. Then it says Ampharos takes inspiration from a lighthouse while still looking pretty organic. That actually does seem pretty reasonable, because Ampharos has that whole little, like, you know, side story thingamajiggy within, like, you know, gold, silver, heart gold, soul silver, etc. Doesn't do what Mega, you know, Ampharos did with getting a lot of wool that it spends its whole evolution getting rid of. It can use G-Max Beacon, which uses electric attacks with the same effect as G-Max Bamboozle. Next up, Porygon Z. It seems to be incorporate its G-Max form into the ground, kind of like an alpha/proto from the MMBN series, not sure what that is, with some magenta wireframe surrounding Porygon Z's body, as well as 3 limbs being pillars around its body. It can turn normal moves into G-Max distortions, which can poison, paralyze, put to sleep any opponent like G-Max Befuddle. Basically, Porygon Z uses a different kind of bug attack, literally. And then finishing it off with Toucanon. Its G-Max form makes its beak look straighter while giving it a several prostorious and went-like things. I'm not really sure what they mean by that. Again, I don't know all the English words, but it constantly glows from a lot of heat, like Toucanon using its move Beak Blast normally. Uses G-Max Bazooka, which boosts flying type moves and burns opponents. And yeah, what do you guys think, he says here? Do you think it's legit? Well, I don't really know. What do you viewers think about this? And that's basically the rumors themselves, right? We've read through them, but now let's kind of talk a little bit more in depth. So let's go back to the Diamond and Pearl rumor first and talk about it a little bit and give you my thoughts and opinions. So first things first, this rumor again, the problem with all these is they all start sounding a little bit too same after a while. So any of them can end up being real, or all could end up being fake. Like literally next year we could end up getting no new game at all, or just 2 new DLC for Sword and Shield, or who knows, maybe even a new Let's Go game. Again, nothing is guaranteed nowadays with Pokemon. Like Pokemon is very much in a weird state of, you know, kind of position right now. It's in a weird state right now, so you don't really know what's going to happen, but we're all predicting it's going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes, at least majority of us, and in this case, this rumor seems to get all the points across, right? They have said in the past they want to bring Megas back in the future. Now again, you can't really trust what Game Freak says, so that could end up never happening, but they did say it, and they do say stuff oftentimes that, you know, maybe they don't end up doing or do end up doing. So for example, they said they would never do DLC, and they ended up doing DLC. They said they would never remove Pokemon, but they ended up removing Pokemon. So my point is basically this. There is like a shift in how they do things. And the thing with Megas is they were removed for like the way they were kind of introduced, which was that they sort of harm the Pokemon when they're being used. You know, the Mega forms are kind of harmful to the Pokemon. So maybe they just didn't want to perpetuate that idea anymore, hence why they sort of removed them and didn't continue making new ones, and simply just wanted to make brand new features. But I think if they decide to do this could be a good thing and a good way to bring them back and put them back into, I don't know, meta play and that sort of stuff, and introduce brand new ones, because I want to see new Megas. I've always been a bigger fan of Megas than something like, let's say, the Galarian or Alolan forms, or, you know, the Z moves, or even the Dynamax and Gigantamax forms. Like, sure, they're fine, but I've always preferred the Megas because, I don't know, they're just really cool to me and I like them way more. So I'd personally wanted to come back. As for the rest of the information, going through, for example, like new forms for Dialga and Palkia, It makes sense. We saw Groudon and Kyogre get like, you know, new forms specifically with Oras, and then, you know, we also got like sort of Mega Rayquaza, so having like different versions for each one of them makes sense. Having an like episode at the end also makes sense. Oras had the whole Delta episode. Having a sort of episode for Platinum here makes a lot of sense, like a Platinum episode. Again, that could be, you know, doable in my opinion, or they'll call it something else, like the Distortion episode. But I think those things need to be included in a remake in general. So a lot of stuff here just seems like the sort of stuff we want to make sure that, you know, it does return. I think it's kind of obvious the underground will definitely return. It was one of those pinnacle features of the game, the same way like secret bases were a big deal in, you know, Oras, which is why they came back. I feel like this is one of those things that will have to return almost. Like, it's not even a question about if it will, but it sort of has to, or else it isn't really a Diamond and Pearl remake. Whereas there's other things like the Battle Frontier and stuff like that, which is a little bit more iffy, because we know Game Freak would preferably not have to do that, because they just prefer putting out the games in whatever, you know, like in smaller kind of scales nowadays versus what they did in the past. So I don't really know, but what do you guys think about this one? And then of course there is the second rumor, which is the DLC one, and this one, I'm gonna be honest, just not enough there. Like, there's really not enough here to really tell me anything. It's just like, oh, there'll be new Galarian forms and new G-Max forms. Really not enough to make it sound more legitimate, so to say, right? It's just info without really any major context or any really massive intrigue to it. So what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the video, guys. If you did enjoy it, then drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe for future videos, and thank you so much for watching. And also check out my secondary channel for Pokemon, which is going to be like a sort of compilation type channel, Astro Poke. You can check it out, link in the description down below. Go sub to it. We're trying to get it to 1,000 subs, almost at 200 by now. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.